Welcome to the 5:30 p.m. December 12th, 2023 CRA meeting. We do have a quorum, so I'll call this meeting to order. Would you please join me in a moment of silence? And the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, would you read the rules to speak, please?
Individuals wishing to speak on agenda items must complete a sign-up card prior to the item being introduced. Sign-up cards are available on the table. Individuals wishing to speak on non-agenda items may do so under petitions and requests. No sign-up card is required. Citizens will be given 3 minutes to speak on all agenda items. All sign-up cards and exhibits being submitted to the CRA shall be placed in the box on the table.
Thank you very much. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the CRA meeting on November 14th, 2023?
Yes, so moved.
I have a motion. I have a second by Member Ball. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Minutes are accepted. City Manager.
Good evening, Chair, Mr. Vice Chair. We are on agenda item number 8A, which is intersection and crosswalk arts. During the FY24 budget workshop, the Community Redevelopment Board expressed interest in crosswalk and intersection art. Staff evaluated the downtown intersections. We also contacted several cities to obtain information such as cost and feedback based on their experiences. Cost will depend on the size, the number of colors utilized, and how the design's chosen, and placement of the design areas specifically on state roads versus local roads. If the design is placed on an FDOT maintained road or an adjacent road, the cost is significantly higher, and the maintenance will become the responsibility of the CRA. Enclosed for your review are maps with pedestrian counts for various downtown intersections. The counts were informally conducted by the community development staff on Wednesday, 30 November, between the hours of 12 and 1. If the CRA board approves moving forward, staff will solicit proposals and bring back the information to the CRA board for your consideration. Sue's got some information. She's also handed out several pictures for you, and I think you're going to walk them through that. Sure. So, Sue.
Good evening. Yes, I did place some pictures by your station, by your desk. Basically, researching this and doing it without an RFP is a challenge because we're trying to obtain information that is very generic from one end of the spectrum to the other. So for the crosswalks, and this is ballpark because I can't get an exact on it, obviously, but for the crosswalks, I received quotes from $15,000 and up, depending on the width of the crosswalk, the width of the design, the intricacy of the design, how many colors. So, and then they go up to what you have there. We estimate that at approximately $70,000. I talked to some cities where theirs were significantly higher than that. The intersections were large. They were done by JPA, Joint Partnership Agreements with FDOT. That was Daytona, actually. So I spoke specifically with Daytona and Cocoa, some sister cities that are close to us and coastal as well. Cocoa, they have the stamp in front of the Athens Theater, and I think we'll get some information on that. And Cocoa also has, they've gone the route of a lot of crosswalks. The reason I placed the one in front of you, is I also placed one behind you. If you notice, the first one, and this is the feedback that I received from Cocoa and Daytona, is the larger the intersection or the larger the print, whether it be a stamp, thermoplast, et cetera. And although it is true and it's unfortunate, but it appears that it is a fact that people take that as a sign to put their mark there. So, and you see that on the copy. To put their mark there, another peel outs on the one behind the one that you have on there. If you look in the center, that's an actual peel out. And today's, that's today, and the front one is when it was new. So Cocoa specifically said they had a lot of challenges with that. Yeah, the one in your right hand shows the peel out in the middle. Mm-hmm. So those are some of the challenges, and they can range, like I said, for anywhere from 15,000 up. So it is the will of the board, given the direction of just to research it. Without further direction, this is pretty much what I've come. I'm open to any questions at all.
Member Ball.
Well, I do have some. I didn't realize I didn't intend to go first, but it doesn't matter. I will. I have some questions that may or may not fall into the category of concerns, depending on what the answers will be. And I don't know if you have the answers tonight. But the first thing that occurred to me is this whole issue of maintainability and maintenance. And I have heard, for example, in Cocoa Village, that where one of these went in front of the Playhouse, that there later became some expectation that the Playhouse was going to, hey, we did this for you, so you're going to pay the maintenance costs. And I can assure you that that's not something we would have in mind, or that Titusville Playhouse, although we are strongly in favor of art in public places. It's just a question about, can we get all the right answers on this for the right locations? I took a look at the busy, heavy traffic count intersections that were included in the report, and I noted that in a past improvement project, we put brick in those crosswalks. So I had, I don't know if it's full brick, half brick, or brick cut in and looks like brick, but it's definitely a brick textured crosswalk with white stripes on either side on Hopkins and Julia, Washington and Julia, Maine, and Washington, Maine, and Hopkins, I believe, and probably a few other intersections. But the heaviest traveled ones, which would likely be the first targets or to consider, already have something in the crosswalks. And so the question I would have is, are we going to take those out, or are we going to paint on top of them?
Those are, as the state's going to repave those areas, those are not going to be replaced.
So they're going to pave over them? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then the last one is just a matter of addressing, and this is probably talking with people that have done this for benchmarking and baselining any issues they may have had, is that we have continuing concerns about the high rate of speed and traffic in the downtown. And it's interesting, I've been in some communities in other states where pedestrians always have the right of way. And it's amazing how trained the motorists are to stop, and you'll see pedestrians that don't even look. They just charge right on into the street and cross it because they know the cars are supposed to stop or they're going to get ticketed. That's not the case in Titusville. And if pedestrians are not looking at where they're going, if they're not walking defensively, then I have a concern of a safety hazard. So in high traffic areas, they're enjoying looking at the artwork, walking across the street, not looking at the traffic. I have a safety concern about that. So I don't know if that's something we can gather more insight into the experience of other communities that have done this. So maintainability, has there been any compromise in safety? And I guess you answered the existing infrastructure question about the bricks that won't be there. That's it.
The bricks that won't be there. Member Nelson.
I would like to take credit for this, but I can't. It was actually Marcia Gedke. And Marcia pointed out Bloomberg Philanthropy and said, look at this study, because what this study is saying is that traffic accidents go down, the speed goes down when you have asphalt art. So I love the art. I love this. This is my favorite.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's my favorite. But the initial attraction was trying to get the traffic downtown to slow down. And I've had a couple of friends that have come really close to getting hit in that crosswalk. And so when Marcia showed it to me and she said, read this, I was like, God, that's great. If we can slow traffic down and maybe keep people from getting hit, that would be wonderful.
If that's the experience base, I'd really like to hear that. I'm not familiar with the report or the study you mentioned, but it may, what communities or where that was the case. But
It's,
if cars are slowing down, it's because they see something that they're not quite sure what it is. I'm pretty sure the motorists aren't trying to see what the yard is.
I don't know. It's Bloomberg Philanthropy, and I'll show it to you during the break, and you can write it down. But that's really what attracted me. So for me, I think it's worth it if we can slow people down in the downtown area. And to be honest with you, I thought it would even be cool in front of the theater doing like some masks. The comedy drama mass, something like that in front of there, which would be 2 colors and relatively easy. But I still go back to my palm trees and my bicyclist, and I go, it makes me smile. So I would like
Now,
to see us look at it.
that one piece that you said that you really, really liked, I think the other picture is what it looks like 3 years later.
No, you got this one.
Actually, there are 2 different murals. One is from West Palm Beach, the one you have in your left hand. The one you have in your right hand is from the city of St. Petersburg.
Okay.
And so they're both intersection stamps, but the one from St. Petersburg, we were able to see an aerial and show that someone did a wheelie through there.
Okay.
So that can happen in any of those murals.
Okay.
Member Cole.
Well, I agree with everything that Member Ball said. I'm an architect by training, so I studied art when I was in school, which was 100 years ago.
Yep. Oh, sorry.
You said that about me? That was not nice. Respect your elders, youngin.
And my mic's
That
out.
was so good. That was so
Stokel
good.
never does that. That was, wow.
I worry, I'm trying to be serious. I worried about the maintenance, but I also, art is something I may like and you may not like it. You look at Picasso, some people like Picasso, some people don't. So, how do you choose what to put down and what not? And to piggyback on what Member Ball said about the maintainability, and as we look at the photos that we see, how the deterioration, and, we're going to have to maintain it if we put it down. And I'm not sure, as far as traffic is concerned, I can't debate the study because I haven't seen the study, but I would think it would be a distraction for drivers, especially first-time drivers driving across it, would be interested in what it looks like, and they may not even see that it's a crosswalk that they need to stop in.
Member Stokel.
Yep. No, I was just going to say, I appreciate the art and I do like the bold colors. I have concerns with, I just don't think that we're there yet. If we were to do it, I'd rather focus our efforts on getting tenants in our downtown area, making sure, I would have a hard time spending the money, especially if it is going up to $15,000, $70,000. I'd like to see that go to trying to incentivize people and support them in our downtown first, and then work on some of the creative aspects. And it does concern me with the maintenance at this point.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Yes, I ditto what Member Stokel said. I don't see a whole lot of value to this particular process. We're trying to get individuals to come to our downtown area, and I think the theater, as they grow and draw the population, and I've been in cities with painting on, and being a tourist, I didn't even spend a whole lot of time looking at, because to really look at it, you have to go to the top of the building and look down on it to find the aesthetic value of the process. So I don't see it adding a whole lot of value at this particular time. And again, I agree with, for one of the few times with Member Cole, is that, we're not there.
It's Christmas, Reverend Robert.
Okay. It's just that the cities that I've had, Orlando and Cocoa, I don't see it adding a whole lot of value to the city. And if we're going to do it, it will probably be 20 years down the road once the theater's open. And most of us, only person that will be around here is probably Sarah at that particular time.
Member Aker.
Same thing, I just want to echo the concerns over the maintainability of it over time. I do love the idea out in front of the Playhouse. That kind of makes sense to me. I really like the stamped brick crosswalks. I would rather put our resources, because that's very complimentary of the historic downtown look. And I liked it when they put in, they've held up pretty well over time. So if those are going away, I'd rather see our resources look at going back to putting that back.
I'd quickly echo that the art is in the eye of the beholder. I'm not sure, who's going to like, who's not going to like. Maybe even more so, I have concerns about spending that money and then maintaining that. Because like anything else, freshly painted house or, in-store or out, looks really, really good, and then you got to maintain it. Well, we're going to have cars going over this. So I think it's really a great idea. I think we're getting there, but I think in the words of Member Stokel, we're not there yet. Member Ball?
Yeah, a couple of quick follow-ups, and ask staff to clarify a sentence that's in the staff report, is that if the design is placed on an FDOT maintained road or on an adjacent road, the cost is significantly higher, and the maintenance will then become the responsibility of the CRA. Whose responsibility is it if it's not on an FDOT road or an adjacent road and the cost is not significantly higher because we didn't go on an FDOT road? Is it the city's responsibility? Okay, you would take that into the city budget. And the only other thing with respect to, and the way I read the proposal was to look at intersections, not in the pavement between the sidewalks, so to speak. And if that was what one of the considerations was, I didn't read that. And I would just say with regard to the theater that we're rapidly coming to the point where we have some development plans that we're not quite ready for prime time yet. They will be soon. And I think it's premature to plan something of an investment of this nature, especially on the entire pavement, if that was the thought. But even in the crosswalks, I mean, I just come back to the brick is there, the broad white stripes, and there's a challenge in seeing crosswalks as it is. You can see them now, and I would favor, again, pressing on, it's off this topic, but pressing hard on FDOT and the Space Coast Area Transit, or not the transit, but the Metropolitan Planning Organization, to see what we can do to get pedestrian lights, because those yellow blinking lights they're not fail-safe. And I've had any number of people tell me they still wait until it's clear of cars to walk across because motorists have not been trained to those flashing lights. And I don't think they're going to be any better trained to this, all due respect to the study that was done.
Vice Mayor?
Yeah, just to, I was going to say that, but Dr. Akers, that I like the cobblestone, the brick look, and it gives just a historical feel to downtown, and I think that is better than the art. And again, I spent a lot of time out in Sonoma Valley and in California with the hippie movement, and psychedelics went out a long time ago.
You were a hippie?
I said I spent a lot of time out there. I won't tell you what I was doing.
Turn the mic off.
Call the cards, please.
One card, Stan Johnson.
Mike, there it is. There you go. You're good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, brother. Staff, anything else you want to add?
No, thank you.
I'm sorry? No, okay. Board, people? Yeah. Looking at my thing, I'm not seeing anybody. I can't do it myself. Let's go, Member Nelson. One and down, I'll call your name.
Do we need a motion? We're just
Yeah.
reviewing the research?
I think I've got enough direction that.
Yeah.
So you guys do that to me. I sit in the meeting and say, do we need a motion on this? Yes. And then we don't
Well,
need
you
one.
can
So
vote if you want, but I'm
we're
just not
good.
sure what the motion would be.
So I know city attorney likes motions, but I'm good. If you got enough, we got enough.
Yeah.
I just asked yesterday, we need a motion on, yeah, we need a motion on both of them. All right. Moving right along. City manager.
On to item 8B, which is the downtown business directory kiosks. The downtown business directory kiosks were purchased in the spring of 2017. We have a picture in your packet of that. They need to be replaced due to weather, storms, vandalism, et cetera. Staff is requesting advisability to research on the types of signs and approximate costs to bring back to the CRA board for your approval. So we can go from the current, what's there now, just replace what's there now, or go all the way to digital if you want.
Okay, Member Stokel.
Yep. I had the idea during my one-on-one to maybe look at signs that are similar to our new signs that we just approved recently with like the blue wave, so we can keep that consistent. So it's similar to the sign we have out in front of City Hall and then the ones that we would be doing at our main corridors. I would like to see that price on that consistency. And then I would be interested to see digital, especially as we have maybe tenants moving in and out, rather than having to try to go back in and replace, would be my preference.
Member Ball.
I agree, I ditto on the idea that these should be designed in a way that they're fairly readily updated, because I'm very optimistic about downtown. I mean, I think we've got growth going on big time in the city. We've got growth in the downtown. We're going to see new businesses coming in. And the last thing we want is, hey, I didn't make the kiosk. Will you guys do it over again?
Yeah.
So.
That's not good.
As far as the actual design of it, I looked at that today while I was checking out the crosswalks and trying not to get hit. And I noticed that in those signs, the current graphic approach that we have makes it extremely hard to see the numbers and letters. You can find the colors, but to match those with the businesses are tough. So I'm with Member Stokel on where she was going.
I would say that's the one thing downtown, and I'm not saying there's not more than one thing, but it's definitely a thing I see used. You just drive down there, you'll see people looking things up and figuring out where things are. I think they're valuable. They're not just, for beauty or trying to make them nice or whatever. They're valuable. Member Nelson.
I would agree. They're looking a little tacky, a little beaten up downtown, so I think it's time for us to replace them.
Yeah, and again, I think the updating of them, the way we're growing, is important as well. So I appreciate that. Anybody else? Staff, anything to add on that? Nope. Call the card, please.
One card, Stan Johnson.
You guys are doing a good job on the last issue and this issue too, but you've failed to recognize the state football champs,
Oh, stop.
Tigers.
That's later. I appreciate you. Thank you, Stan. You're something. I never know what you're going to say. Nobody else does either, just for the record. All right, Member Cole?
I would just like to, I really like what Member Stokel said. I'm sure hopefully it's not cost prohibitive, but it sure would look good, just like our sign, the digital sign we have outside of City Hall. If we could go
I agree with
digital and can afford it, I think really we should go that way.
You have enough on that one?
Yes, we can certainly research that. I can get with Public Works and see who I know who they went with. So we can definitely take a look at that, see if we can piggyback.
All right.
Thank you.
I think we're done then on that. Okay, City Manager.
Petitions and requests?
Petitions and requests, please. Did we Did I miss a presentation? I'll talk to you later. We don't announce it. Thought we had one.
Stan,
Okay.
Stan Johnson here. And this is a wonderful day. It's a beautiful day, and I'm thankful and I'm grateful. And so I'll just,
Yeah, it was quick.
we'll just have, some people don't have to do this, but I'm going to lead us in prayer. So Lord, we just thank you. Thank you for this beautiful day. And please help us to love one another and to do your will. And thank you again for the Tigers winning that playoff game. Thank you, Lord. Amen.
All right. All right, any others?
Since it's a short meeting and it's the holiday season, I want to entertain
It
you.
is the holiday season.
Shippola, no. Shippola Norwood House, don't interrupt me, please. You've probably seen media coverage about the train noise pollution issue further down Brevard County along the Bright Line rail. I'd like to draw your attention to the train noise and vibration pollution by the Florida East Coast Railroad barreling through our town all hours of the day and night. The Federal Railroad Administration requires engineers to blow a certain pattern at railroad crossings, 2 long, 1 short, 1 long. I learned this years ago when I lived in downtown Decatur, Georgia, across the street from a CSX rail line. Oh, man, besides the noise and vibrations, I did see the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey circus train one day pass, but the house I lived in was a rental, and I didn't care if it shook much. Later, I moved to Stone Mountain, Georgia, and that same CSX rail ran behind my house, moving tank cars of noxious chemicals and boxcars loaded with who knows what. Again, there were sufficient barriers of clay and trees to buffer the vibrations, but one day I saw military missiles and hardware going down the line. I mention this history to point out that I'm not naive about living across the tracks. I've done so most of my impoverished life. I was a neo-vaudevillian entertainer, after all. Most of you do not live near the railroad tracks nor stay in the historic buildings of our town. But let me tell you, as the resident owner of a locally designated historic house only 2.5 blocks west of the tracks, the trains are getting heavier and longer over the 5 years I've owned the historic Norwood House. I'm awakened around 4:30 or 5 a.m. with the first trains of the day. I lay in bed hoping the framed pictures hanging on the wall over me don't fall on my head, nor that the things on the bureau don't shake onto the floor. The cracks appearing in the painted walls are signs that the vibrations are effective. The trains pass frequently day and night. Most of them are like 3 to 5 minute earthquakes, but with loud horns blaring. At Garden Street, then immediately at Main, and again before South, or vice versa. Lots of longs and shorts and more longs. I awoke to an earthquake once in North Georgia. It was a minor tremor, but as the bed shook, I awoke and thought, damn, now they have silent trains. I wish that they were silent here, or better yet, tremor-free.
You timed that really well. I would say, Tony, that I've just heard about the silent train thing in the last week. I think it's something we need to keep our eye on and see how that works out. I think I'm about 2 miles from the train, and I can tell you at night it seems louder than the day. And I can hear them real clear too, so I can only imagine that. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Executive Director's Report.
I have no action
I'm
items.
sorry, let me say it one more time. Any other petitions or requests?
I was going to say, I think as we're talking about gentrifying downtown and residences, we need to be aware of that, and that the cities have the power. Melbourne's trying to
Yeah,
establish quiet zones.
Need to keep our eye, I agree. And I see no more petitions or requests. Thank you.
On the city manager's, or correction, executive director's report, information items for your consideration.
Anything else? All right.
Oh,
Up,
Sorry, just,
up. Ball.
One comment for information for Tony and others that were listening to that presentation and were interested. We do have in the downtown redevelopment plan a goal of seeking quiet zones. And the flip side of that is that I'm not at all sure we have the authority to impose that. And what I've heard is that the FEC attorneys are just got their heels dug in on liability issues if they were to not sound the horn. So it's a challenging thing, but I want you to know we considered it and it is in the plan.
Very good. All right, anything else? Anybody else? All right, with that, meeting adjourned. Next one, 6:30.